and welcome back to CoinDesk Live. We are coming to you from Binance Blockchain Week in Dubai. Our next guest is here, co-founder and CEO of Aptos Labs, Avery Ching. Hey, Avery.
It's good to see you both.
Yeah,
hey, Avery,
nice to see you again. Been following your movements on X. You were just in India.
I was.
Now you're here in Dubai. Give us the TLDR on what happened at India Blockchain Week.
India Blockchain Week is an amazing event, actually, a culmination of a lot of builders and enterprises out there in the region, and we've been investing in India for 3+ years now, and I think a lot of the fruits of that labor have been really developing and making a lot of progress. We just actually were upstage with Geo Reliance. Maybe you've heard of them. They're IPOing this year. They're one of the largest companies in the world, and have over 500 million customers on their telco service. They kind of announced a lot about the partnership with Aptos, what we're doing in terms of ad tech, AI, IoT, as well as many other aspects of looking at reward systems and also stablecoins in the future. So there's a lot to do there, which we're excited about.
Avery, Aptos has been cooking this year. You guys have been doing a lot. I mentioned I was at your event in Brooklyn a couple of months ago, and there's a ton of energy around people building in the space. You know, I just want you to reflect a little bit. You know, go back to 2019. You're working at Facebook at the Libra project. You know, and you're sort of seeing what big tech blockchain can look like. And then fast forward, you're here 6 years later, and you guys are really building what you probably wanted to build, and with the handcuffs off, right? Like, just give us a little bit of that journey for you.
100%. I mean, when we started off in Libra and DM back in 2018, we were really focused on the use cases of how do we bring MasterCard, Visa, Uber, Lyft, Facebook, Instagram, all those conglomerations on-chain through payments networks. The 24/7 payments network with new currencies, new crypto primitives, and then in a way that would be very, very much compliant with the government at the time. But fast forward to today, the government's changed a lot. The administration is very forward thinking about crypto. We're now very much forward facing in terms of how we engage with the legislature, through the CFTC, through our work with the House Agriculture Committee on the Clarity Act, and seeing a lot of traction, not just the regulatory side, but the capital market side, with a lot of IPOs happening, with DATs happening, and now we can build the kind of end state, which we believe is the global trading engine of the future, and developing technology where all financial markets, not just crypto markets, come on chain, and are really going to change the way we think about commerce, interaction, transactions between different parties, and also a leveling of the playing field. It's just so important out there, because if you think about today, a trade that goes through Robinhood will then hit Citadel first. There'll be order flow payments for that. That's just the way regulated markets work. But the future of this technology is where all players have the same edge. There's no advantage for being a prop shot, HFT firm, and others. We can all play in this world very equally and fairly.
Avery, when you think back to when you were at Facebook, when you were building, coming up against the challenges you came up against with Libra, did you think that you would be sitting here all these years later, there would be stablecoin legislation in the United States, and you'd be having the types of conversations you're having here?
We always hoped that would be the case, but to see it really happen now, where we can be part of that discussion, where we can lead DeFi efforts from the CFTC side, where we can drive forward a lot of ideation through many other parties as well, and actually kind of construct that regulatory promise of the future that we want to have happen, and then build the technology and product at the same time. It's just an unbelievable time in our history, and I think a real turning point for crypto adoption, not only in America, but the world.
Avery, as you look at the Aptos ecosystem, which, you know, like crypto has been kind of up and down, but we're still seeing more and more builders come in, more and more different projects. You mentioned when you were with Libra and DM, you know, really, how do we get the Visas and the PayPals, who are all now on crypto?
Yeah.
You know, what do you think are the next categories coming in? Is it going to be entertainment? Are we really thinking about just financial? Is it culture? Like, what? I guess where do you lock in and say, if we can get X, then crypto or blockchain will really go up into the right big time?
So we think really that global trading engine is the thesis for all of crypto adoption in the future. And the global trading engine is how do we kind of put assets on, we tokenize assets, financial assets, non-financial assets. And so from the financial asset side, we're seeing folks like BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, Apollo, all moving tremendous amounts of activity on-chain, a lot of it on Aptos as well. And as we tokenize those assets, we also see now the advent of data coming on-chain. We've been building a project called Shelby alongside Jump Crypto. It's an amazing kind of innovative project for hot decentralized storage that competes with the cloud infrastructure of today. You've seen kind of issues where Azure's gone down recently, AWS has gone down, caused outages for so many different companies out there. Shelby solves this problem and does it at a cost point which is far cheaper than existing cloud, S3, and all those other products. And so AI, creator platforms, and even boring old enterprise platforms are going to be starting to use products like Shelby in the future, where again, this is based on a global trading engine where you can have value exchange and value creation happening in the same platform. And so as we tokenize both the financial assets, the data assets, and then we have platforms for exchange of those assets on chain through things like Decibel that we're building with the global trading engine, that's like the perfect, I think, thesis for how all this world works in a way that's decentralized and fair.
Talk to us a little bit more about Shelby. We just had the Cloudflare outage that affected us in some way over at CoinDesk. Shelby solves the problem, but how do you get users to understand that and migrate from the huge cloud servers of the world over to Shelby? Because that's a whole other problem to solve.
It is. I mean, so these cloud services like AWS and GCP and others have huge sales forces, right? That go out and sell their platforms and great conferences that kind of talk about the benefits. But for Shelby, it's super simple actually, because we're just cheaper. We don't have the kind of lock-in from the egress cost that every cloud provider has, because they want to keep you within their cloud. They don't want you to leave. But those same forces that keep you there mean that whenever the outage happens in the cloud, you're down, right? And so Shelby's not designed that way. It's designed as a global cloud infrastructure that spans different kinds of clouds, also individual service providers, but yet provide that performance that you expect from an S3 out there. So you're going to see cost better, you're going to see better reliability, you're going to see that every time these cloud outages happen, there's basically an advertisement for Shelby. And it's, we don't want to see people's services go down, but it kind of reminds people of the fragileness of today's systems. Cloudflare went down recently as well, right? Yeah. And so all these things that happen kind of are just showing the world that if you want to have resilient, reliable infrastructure systems and applications ultimately that touch consumers, especially those mission critical applications, whether it's going to be kind of planes or air traffic controllers, that has to be built in reliable infrastructure, and that's where Shelby's going to really shine above any other product out there in the market.
One more question on Shelby. I've been a big fan of decentralized compute for a long time. Filecoin was one of the first investment of mine. So we want this stuff to happen. I also remember the old adage from the business world that nobody ever got fired from hiring IBM.
That's right.
And so the trust that you could go with going with a Google or a Microsoft or AWS or your cloud systems covers your ass a little bit.
Yes, it does.
And the idea of me going to a boss and saying, hey, you know what? Why don't we not go with Azure and we're going to go over to Shelby? How do we sort of make the case that says this is where you want to be because of the actually opportunity, because of the features that we act, and because of the resiliency that the network can provide, while also saying, oh, by the way, it's decentralized, anyone owns it, right? How do you reconcile that for people who want to maybe deploy big systems onto it?
It's a great question. And so if you think even the way that AWS started off, it was actually built for its own set of products, right? Yeah. They actually offers a service to anybody else out there. And they kind of refined that view over time. But startups started to adopt it, and then larger corporations. I think that's going to be the same kind of pattern. As you see the benefits from these startups leveraging products like Shelby and seeing the benefits of cost, of reliability and others, we're going to see a massive adoption there. So you start off with crypto companies, you'll start off with those that are more familiar with the decentralized Web3 space, that have tried the Filecoins and found that those aren't the solution they're looking for, because Filecoin's great for archival, but not for hot storage, not for real-time serving, not for AI data and things like that. And as those products kind of prove the use cases of Shelby, and we've already seen tremendous amount of interest across the board, I think all those big companies will pay attention and see that this is the proper way and path forward. And the cost and the savings and the reliability aspects would sell themselves over time.
Avery, we got to let you go, but first I got to ask you, from India to the UAE, well, you and I spoke in Canada, I think, previously. Talk to us about how you're looking at this region. Why is this region important to what you're building at Aptos?
UAE is one of the most forward-thinking regions when it comes to blockchain and Web3 technology. We see so many government advancements here. Binance having their conference here every year is an amazing thing. They want to see building happening. We've been investing in the MENA region for a while now, and a lot of new efforts to yet be announced, but a lot of capital here, a lot of projects here, and a lot of, I think, government infrastructure where I think we really shine. So those are the kind of hints, I think, in which we're seeing a lot of adoption and traction.
Avery, it was so nice to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be here with you both.
Thanks, Avery.